In the last videos, we talked about SPSS dashboard. Then we talked about what is a questionnaire, a survey questionnaire. Uh, in the questionnaire, we talked about the structure of the questionnaire. And then we also talked about how to code your questionnaire into SPSS using the variable window. And then in the very last video, we talked about how to put your data into this data view window. So if we just go in order, first you need to have an understanding of the dashboard, that what is this SPSS. And then we need to have an understanding about our survey or questionnaire. Or if you're going for a secondary data, we need to have the sense of that data. And then the third thing is that we need to create this variable view, that we need to put names and values for each variable, or you can say for each question. So once you do that, then these names will be appearing in the data view window on top like this. And then you will be inserting your data into this data view window. So if you just look at this data view window, currently we've filled it with some data. It's a dummy data, but we'll be using it for practice. So if you just scroll down, first of all, to see how many respondents data is there in our SPSS sheet. So if we go down, the serial number is going to help us in determining how much data or how much sample size we have here. So if we just go here, I have created a data of 250 respondents. You need to make sure that these highlighted tabs are filled with data. Why? Because if you have, for example, if you have typed something here and then you have removed it, now this 250 first bar is still highlighted, showing that it has some data, although you've already deleted it, but it is showing as it has some data. So we'll keep it like this and we'll see what to do now. In this video, we'll be mainly talking about the sifting of data or cleaning of data, or you can say we'll be finding the typos in our data, or you can say that we'll be finding the outliers in our data. So while typing the data manually, most of the people, most of the times, make a lot of mistakes. Sometimes when you are writing, for example, 1, sometimes you type 11. Sometimes you miss a bar. For example, if you can see here, if you've seen the last videos, should be very clear to you that we do not have any option which is exceeding 5, that we have not coded any item with a number more than 5. But as you can see here, that there is a 44 number, there is a 55, and there might be a few more numbers, but by visually looking at the sheet, it is kind of impossible, or it's very difficult to find out all the typos. Then you can also see there are some missing values, but you won't be able to find all the missing values in a data. This is a data of 250 respondents. There might be a research in which you have a data of thousands of people. So we cannot do it visually. Therefore, in this video, we'll be talking about first how to sift our data, how to clean our data, that it is a typo free, it is the error free data. It is not going to be main part of your analysis. It will not be used in any of your analysis. You won't be putting the sifting part in any of your tables, for example, but it is a very, very useful thing to do it before you move on to some important data analysis steps, because otherwise the data will be saying something else which the actual data or the respondents did not mean to say it. Therefore, let's start. And as we talked about in our first video, that the Analyze tab is going to be the most useful tab for most of the analysis. So first of all, make sure that you are in the right window. Although you can do the analysis from both the windows, you will be getting the same drop down menu. But you need to be sure that in which window you are operating, so you'll be performing a proper function. So let's go to our analyze window and see that there are so many options there. We'll be talking about many of these options, but for now, we'll be going to this descriptive statistics tab. What we've done, we went to this analyze type, drop down menu, descriptive statistics. This video will contain things from the descriptive statistics. So the very first thing that we need to do is we need to go for frequencies. Now remember what we are trying to do. We are trying to sift our data. We are trying to clean our data. We are trying to see if there are any typos in our data or any missing values in our data. So if we just go to this frequency tab and just click it, there's going to be a new window appearing in front of you. Now this is something that you'll be seeing whenever you'll be clicking anywhere to analyze your data. What did we do? We went to this analyze tab, descriptive statistics, frequencies. So frequencies are used for many things, but for now we'll be using it to see if our data has any typos, any missing values, and especially if it's a large data, this is a very helpful step. So for the cleaning purposes, what you can do is, first you need to understand that there is this tab and there is this tab. The top of the tab is going to show you what exactly you're going to do. So this is a tab of frequencies. Now, these are all the questions, or this is all the data that is available to us in our SPSS sheet, in our current sheet. So what we can do is, you can go for example, if you just click Control A, it will select all the data in our sheet, or all the questions that they are there in this sheet. Now, please be sure that whichever variable you will be moving to this window, the right side window, the SPS is going to help you analyze only these questions. For example, you have the option to move them back, then move them here. For example, if you just want to take first 3 questions and you just want to sift these 3, then these 3 can be sifted or can be analyzed. But for now, we'll go for all the variables, because what we are trying to do, we are trying to sift the data. So if you simply put all of your data into this window and just click OK for now. Now, this is another window which is known as the output window. This is not the window which we were just talking about. So for example, if I cross this window, it will tell me save content or output viewer to output file. I say, no, I don't want to save it. This window is still there. So make sure whatever you're doing, it'll be analyzed in a separate window. In this window, we have variable view and the data view. But the moment we will go for this descriptive statistics, frequencies, or any other analysis, and we try to analyze, it will give us a new window in which it is going to show us number of tables. Why? Because now here we can see this window now. Now this window is showing us a lot many tables. Why? Because we have given it a lot many questions for which the data is to be analyzed. So if you just look at the first table, it is showing that in the gender part, 250 values are valid, which means 250 boxes are filled, but one is also missing. The same way, if we just go on 250, 250, 250, 249, that means there are two missing values. 249, two missing values. So first of all, we will be seeing the whole data, and the whole of the data is showing at least one or two missing values. So it is showing one value missing for almost all the variables and two value missing for F4 and F5. That means either respondents did not respond to this question, but the particular respondent, or we have missed the data entry. Now, let's go back to our window, SPSS window, and first of all, analyze that what is that one question number in which all the values are missing. And as we talked about in the beginning, that it is considering this 250 first line as the data, and it is saying that there's no data. That is why it is showing one missing value throughout our sheet. So what we can do is we can go to this 251 number, right click, clear. The second thing we noted in that analysis is that there are F4 and F5 missing values. So if we just scroll down to F4, and here is the missing value. Now, what you can do is you can go back to your questionnaire number 1 and see what the respondent has ticked in that. For example, let's say the respondent gave us 2 here and 3 here. You cannot just put this data like this. There are methods. Even if there are missing values, you can use those 2 or 3 methods, which we'll talk about in some other video, to fill this data. But even if you leave it missing, most of the analysis will be done and it will not give you any problem. So this is the first thing that we did. Now let's go back to our analyze descriptive statistics frequencies, and let's run the whole thing again. Now this time what we can see is that there are 250 valid values and there are no missing values. So that means with just 1 or 2 clicks, we have a complete picture of our data that there are no missing values. But this is not enough. This is not the whole sifting part. What you'll have to do is you'll have to look at the individual question. For example, here in this gender question, we only had 2 options, male and female, which is fine. We only have 2 options. In the experience part, we had these 4 options, 1, 2, 3, 4. But you see, there is this 44, which is mentioned, which is not part of our coding, but it had been mentioned somewhere in our sheet in the experience row, but only there's one typo. So this is definitely a typo. This is definitely an error, because we had nothing which is coded as 44 here. Now, there's one problem with experience. Let's go to other questions. This is fine because we had only 4 options, and only 4 options we can see. We had only 5 options from strongly disagree to strongly agree. That is fine. And if we just keep on going, and F4, F5, F6 here. F6 has another issue. F6 has something which is 55. And as we coded, the maximum number is 5. Now, you can easily recognize that you have mistakenly put 55 instead of 5. But next, if you just look at or skim all the variables, and what you can do is you can note down your variable number or the item number in which you have some typos, I think we are fine with the rest of them. I did this typos deliberately because I wanted to go through this step. So let's, F6 is a problematic. Then there is another problematic thing, which is F6, and the other one is experience. So F6 and experience. So let's go back to our window, the data view, and see experience. And here, this is the typo that we made, and we need to convert it to 4, or we need to see what was the option ticked in questionnaire 8. The same way, if we go to F6, and here if you just look at this, there is a 55, and because there's only 155 and there was only 144, so there were only 2 mistakes in our data. So let's just save it, and whenever you'll be performing any function, this output window will be telling you what you actually did. So if you just saved it, it's going to give you this message that it has been saved. Okay, let's close it and go back to our sheet. One other thing, for example, when I was doing this, I was going again and again from analyze to descriptive statistics to frequencies, and then I used to go to this window. There is a shortcut available in this SPSS that any recent function or analysis that you just performed, you can just go to this shortcut, and these are all the recent analysis that I have done. And as I've recently done the frequencies, that is why it is on the top. So just click frequencies, it's going to take you there. So instead of going from analyze, descriptive statistics and frequencies, you can just click this shortcut and it's going to take you to the frequency window directly. Now, from here and from onwards, whatever analysis we'll be doing, suppose if you come here and you see that there are problems and you just want to analyze a few questions and not all the variables. So one method is that you select the variables that you don't want to be there in the span and shift them back. But sometimes there is a chaos. There are a lot of variables. Some of them you want to keep, some of them you do not want to keep. So what you can do is you can simply press the reset button and it will give you a fresh window as a new window. Now you can shift any type of variables to this window and you can do the analysis. Now, the frequency tab is also very useful for the demographic analysis. First, we use it for the sifting part. Now, we can use it for the demographic part. That how we can know that what kind of respondents actually filled our questionnaires. And this is very important. Usually, the first part of your analysis has this demographic, or you can say sample characteristics. So for that, we'll again be using frequencies, but this time, as we are not concerned about all the data, we only want to see that what was the gender, experience, and education of the people who responded to our questionnaire. So we'll only select these 3 variables and we'll put them in this window. Now, there are many other things that we can do here, and with just 1 or 2 clicks, it can give you number of different options and different analysis. For example, if you go to this chart button, it'll give you option of the bar charts, the pie charts, the histograms, or if you want to see the normal curve. So it'll give you multiple options. So for now, for example, I'm interested in pie charts. And I want that frequencies should be there. this should be taken as the main value. So I'll just have to continue. What did I just do? I went to charts, pie chart, continue, and then if I just press OK, it's going to take me to another window. And now it is showing me, now here we can easily do this analysis that how many males and how many females were there in our data. So 143 males and 107 females actually responded to our questionnaire. Then we are also interested in looking at their experiences. So less than 1 year, there were 31 people who had less than 1 year of experience. There were 72 people who had 1 to 5 years of experience. There were 6 to 10 years experience, which is 81 people. And there are 66 people who had 11 years or above experience. The same way, if you go to this education table, it's going to give you that 10 people had the education level up to intermediate level, 90 people had the bachelor's degree, 144 people had the master's degree, and 6 had the MPhil or PhD degree. So what you can do is you can easily analyze what kind of sample was there. Now, the next part is going to give you these beautiful pie charts, and in which it is showing the gender, and it has divided it into 2 colors, and the same way it has given you a key. For example, male for blue and female for green. Then the same way as we had 4 options in experience part, less than 1 year, and all of them, they have different colors. The same way education, and as you can see that there are more people who have master's degree, and there are very few people who have MPhil and PhD degree, and there are very few people who have the intermediate degree. So this way you can get very beautiful graphs with your tables. Now I'll be making other videos how to convert your tables into APA or into beautiful presentable tables, but please never ever make this mistake of just copying these tables directly to your report and presenting them like this, because from the output window you just have to right click, copy, and you can paste it anywhere. For example, if you want to paste it in Excel, if you want to paste it in Word, you can do it. You can also, by pressing from here, you can also go for multiple table selection. So you can just copy and paste it anywhere. But please don't do it. Do not just copy paste them. Make good tables, for which you will be looking at my other video. Now, the last thing of this video we want to understand is that in the analyze part, there is also one very interesting function that we can perform. Go to this descriptive statistics and go to this Crosstab. We'll be talking about the descriptives in our next video, but for Crosstab, you need to go here, press the Crosstab. Now it'll give you options of row, columns, and layer. So for example, if I'm interested to know that how many, for example, male respondents were having master's degree, and how many female respondents had more than 5 years of experience. So the questions like that can be answered through this Crosstab. So we are in the Crosstab window. So what we can do is we can put gender here, experience here, and education, for example, here. And for now, just click OK. And what you can see is you have a very detailed table. Now, what it has done for us is that it has taken the education here, the 4 levels of education of our sample, the 2 gender types, and the years of experience. So by looking at this table, we can easily analyze that, for example, uh, 3 male member having less than 1 year of experience, they also had bachelor's degree. And for example, how many people had, what kind of people had intermediate degree? So there was only 2 people who had this intermediate degree who were males, and there were 4 females who had 6 to 10 years of experience, but their education level is intermediate. So this is a very, very useful tab in order to know what kind of people had what kind of other characteristics. The same way, if we go to this shortcut again, Crosstab, and you can also go for some other things. For example, you can go for statistics, and in statistics you can go for many of these options which are for now very complicated and we won't be talking about it. You can also go for example, formatting of these things, that if you want it in ascending order or descending order. You can also go for the style, that what kind of style you want. But all of these things are possible in this crosstab window. So this is a very useful window. And from here, you can also go for display clustered bar charts. And let's just try this one as well. So once you do this, you will also get these very beautiful bars that are showing that female had 6 to 10 years experience are here, and female having 11 years or above experience are here, and male are. So you can do multiple type of analysis, and this is for gender, education, this is for education and gender, this is for education and gender. So you can have multiple options here, and through crosstabs, many of the researchers only use sometimes crosstabs. For social sciences researchers, the crosstabs are the only analysis that are used, and the frequencies maybe. So keep practicing these things, and in the next video, we'll be talking about some other things like descriptive statistics, and then we'll move on to our correlation, regression, and furthermore complicated analysis. For now, thank you very much.